I want you to change your mindset into one that sees a broader point of view. Think about what you are doing every day in every interaction, and how can that thing that you just did translate to help you score points on an interview.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, what's up? It's Nick Fialka. I hope your day is awesome. Today is a solo show, my favorite kind of show because I just listened to myself and I know what I'm going to talk about already, and it's a good day. I want to talk about something that is important to every pilot, your bank account. You have to have a bank account, and you need a lot in your bank account. A lot, straight up, as much as you can possibly fit into your account. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Now, here's the pivot. I'm not talking about a bank account at Bank of America. I'm not talking about a bank account at USAA. I'm not talking about a financial bank account. No, haste. I am talking about an interview bank account. An interview bank account is your list of answers that you can pull from when you get a question. The interview team has a list of questions that they are going to ask you. They have them all written out. They don't speak extemporaneously. They don't just come up with stuff off the top of their head. It's actually a scientific model that they follow that creates an opportunity to give an interview to a person no matter where they're from or what they look like or how tall or how short or how whatever they are, and be able to critique it and grade it and give it a points scale, award it points, so that they know whether or not they should hire you. They'll give you a certain amount of points. At the end, they'll take a look and say, yep, that guy's got enough points, we should hire him. Or nope, that guy doesn't have enough points, we should not hire them. Well, all of those answers, as each one's graded, they're graded on a scale of usually 1 to 5. Sometimes it's 1 to 7. Usually it's 1 to 5. And you can, 1 is like you can't even fog a mirror. 3 is mediocre and you kind of talk to the question. And 5 is the fact that you freaking have great self-awareness and you understand why they are asking the question, and you craft an answer to not only answer the question, but crush and talk about how you're going to be amazing at that company because of that, without providing a canned answer. Canned answers. What's a canned answer? Well, a canned answer would be like, hey, why don't you tell me about yourself? Well, hi, my name is Nick, and I married to my wife, Anna. We met when we were 32, and we had a dog named Fluffy. And when we were 34, we had our first child whose name is this and that and the other. And you just walk through this pre-canned, like totally nonsensical, stupid answer or any of that. It is super obnoxious. There are certain places where you will be taught to answer a thing in a certain way, and you will be taught the things to say. And the people that use those companies go to these interviews, and the interviewer hears the same answer from 6 different candidates. And they're like, what in the heck is going on? Why are all these people telling the same robotic answers? And they'll read right through it. They see right through it, and they know where you came from. They don't even need to ask. They know where you came from. But the interviewer wants to know who you really are. Does that mean that you should not do interview prep? Of course not. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is you have to be able to articulate yourself with your bank account. When you get a question, you may get one you don't expect. You may get one you've never heard. And this is why you do interview prep. The first thing you need to start your bank account is to get a notebook. The second thing you need to do is get a pen. And you need to write Nick's interview notebook. And you need to only use that notebook as your bank account. Actually, why don't we just call it Nick's interview bank account? Put your name where mine is and write interview bank account. And that's it. Start thinking of all the various tell me about a time questions. If you're struggling with what they are, join the Spitfire community. We go through lots of them. They're going to ask you questions. Often you'll hear a conflict question, a leadership question, a time you went the extra mile, customer service related questions, resource management, crew resource management questions, that kind of stuff. And then start thinking about stories that can go with them. Put conflict at the top of the page and write 4 or 5 or 6 ideas of stories that you have from your experience that could fit into a conflict question. And do one with a leadership question. Do the same thing, right? Leadership at the top and write 4 or 5, 6 examples down there. And write them down. Literally write them down and write a lot of them down. And as you hear more questions, write that question at the top. And it doesn't matter if you repeat some scenarios. Maybe you have the same leadership answer in a conflict story as well. Like maybe they go hand in hand. Put them both down there. Put them right in there. Because what you're doing is you're expanding your brain. You're thinking deeply. You're coming up with these stories and you're writing them down. And then you practice telling them. And this becomes your interview bank account. The more you study it and the more you practice it, the more you will be able to know yourself. And when you practice it out loud. It's hard. Shoot, man, recording this podcast is hard. I have to sit in front of this microphone and look at my notes and talk about it with headphones on and not feel like a goof. But I have thousands of people every single week that listen to it. Thousands. And I love it. And I practiced at first. I was terrible. Terrible. Same thing with answering questions. I was really bad at them. I thought, I think I'm an awesome person. And I thought I'd be really, really good at answering questions. Then I started to say them out loud. I said one answer once to my wife and she's like, oh, geez, this is not good. So sit there and answer them out loud. Try talking into the mirror. That's the first baby step. It's not really great. It's not really effective, but it gets your voice out there and it makes you realize that you need more work. Practice in front of your spouse, the significant other, a friend, a dog. Record it on your phone. Go to your voice recorder app and record an answer and listen to it and ask people for feedback. I have people all the time ask for feedback and I'm happy to give it. I also send a lot of people with a little bit of homework where I tell them, hey, you need a little work on answering this leadership question. Why don't you practice recording it and send it to me on a text on the voice recorder? I'll listen to it and I'll give you more feedback. I would say of the 10 people that I tell to do that, 2, maybe 2 people will actually do it. And I mean, I was working with somebody once that was having a really, really, really hard time coming up with a couple different answers. And we practiced with the voice recorder app. And because I didn't have time to be on the phone with him all the time and listen and give feedback and this, that, and the other, but I did have time to sit, listen to it once, give feedback, send it back. He'd work on it and it'd get tighter and tighter and tighter. And let me tell you what, that dude got the job. He knows who he is. He listens to this podcast. You know exactly who you are. And that's awesome. So do the things that are hard and ask for that feedback. Then you need to change your mindset. So what is your mindset? It's the lens in which you view the world. Your current mindset is one in which you're enjoying the day-to-day. Right now, your mindset is about enjoying this podcast. I want you to change your mindset into one that sees a broader point of view. Think about what you are doing every day in every interaction and how can that thing that you just did translate to help you score points on an interview. Keep adding stories to your notebook. If you don't have a good customer service story, then get up, turn off the podcast, and go get one. Walk outside, go help somebody, go be cool, go be awesome, go do it. You don't have a leadership answer, then go find some leadership, go volunteer for something, go get out there and get uncomfortable, and keep your stories in your notebook, in your bank account. Build your bank account. And the reason you write them down is because you will forget them, because there are lots of different questions and there are lots of potential ways you can answer questions, and you'll have lots of stories and they'll come to mind and then they'll be gone and you'll never have it again. You'll be like, dang, I had this one. What was it? Well, if you're a smart nerd like me, you just open your interview bank account and you check it out and it's right there. And you know you've got 5 and you just thought of a 6th one you can write down, and write them down. The goal is not to have an answer for everything. The goal is to know yourself so well that no matter what question you get, you understand the deeper meaning behind the question and you can pivot. If you know yourself, you can be yourself. So go get your bank account and start putting some deposits in. Let's go. Hey, before you jump out of here and go on to the next podcast, can I ask a big favor? Would you mind going over to your app that you're listening to this podcast on and give me a review? Give me a 5-star review if you love it. Give me a 1-star review if it totally sucks. Put a comment in there, something that is helpful. It helps me. It helps get the word out there. It helps people find the podcast, and that's super cool. If you don't do that, maybe you could just share the podcast with a friend. Tell a buddy who's trying to figure it out, trying to sort out this pilot dream of theirs and get a little bit further. That is super awesome as well. Last, if you don't do either of those two things, how about this? Find a way today to make yourself 1% better. Do that thing that you've been putting off. Put your foot forward, make movement, get yourself going, get that inertia that you need to succeed in this industry. So that's your choice. Leave a review, tell a friend, or make yourself better. Either way, it's all a good choice. And I'm super stoked you're listening, and I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.